Hope, 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 hope. It's what you hold on to until you find your knowing. Hi guys, it's me, Talina Davidson, coming to you through YouTube for my first time ever. So bear with me as I get used to being in front of the camera and sharing my message in this format. So you guys have been hearing me talk, some of you that's been in my orbit have been hearing me talk about all kinds of things this year, and what it's come down to is discovery of mission 2334. So I'm going to do my best to try to explain this to you in kind of a synopsis of what we're going to be covering, at least getting involved into it a little bit, but it's a lot. I've tried to have an interview. We tried to edit it and it was all over the place, so I'm going to try to just give you guys some high level bullet points on 4 of the main topics as we move through this. So what is the purpose of mission 2334? Okay, I have some notes here, just so you know if you see me looking down reading these notes. So the purpose of this mission, it's multi-dimensional, and it's about bringing balance back into the world where we have been out of balance for quite some time in the masculine and feminine energy. There's going to be a lot of ways this is going to take place, but I'm going to first talk about the initiations of the expansion of the radius of the Earth's inspirational circles and their corresponding creative and structural circles. And these are located at various points across the planet's chakra systems, and they're associated with sacred sites and temples along the way. So I'll be visiting those places and doing initiation and healing ceremonies at these various locations along the Earth's chakra systems, and which are also known as her energy field, which we have also our bioenergy field. So scientifically speaking, what we would call it is the geometric magnetic fields that are also associated with the Earth grids and the ley lines. And the Earth, just as us, has different gates along the way. So in my mission and what I was activated to do, and I didn't know what the numbers stood for most of the year, but recently discovered is the gates 23 through 34, which also are associated with the lunar cycle years 23 through 34. So this entire mission will be about an 11-year cycle. So if you want to know more about that, then that information about the chakras and human design, I really would recommend that you read the book Understanding Human Design by Karen Curry. These grid lines are referred to through some of the books that I've read as the Christ Consciousness Grid or the Unity Grid. A couple books that really help you understand, if you really want to follow this mission and understand what it's about, it would be Earth Chakras by Robert Kuhn. Oh, when I got this book handed to me, it was like, I've described it as getting the instruction manual to something you've been trying to put together and you're 90% done, and then you're able to check it against yourself. So Robert Kuhn, I'd love to meet you. If this finds its way to you, I think you live in an area that I'm going to, I'd love to meet up with you. Next would be the Serpent of Light and the Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, both written by Drunvalo Melchizedek. These people have done this work that I'm about to do, but also more recently you could watch Matthias De Stefano's journey to Remembering in the Initiation series, because he was activated to work gates 11 through 22. This actually started in 1989, and it has to do with the Weizak cycles. There's 4 of them, each lasting about 18.61 years. And my mission has been called to bridge the gap between the 2nd and the 3rd Weizak cycle, which the 3rd one will begin in 2027, and where we will see a significant shift in everything in the world. Okay, so that is bullet point 1. The next that we'll be talking a lot about is autism. So through my work as a clinical autism specialist, I really started identifying some patterns of intelligence in the autistic person, specifically the child, is where I really noticed their connection. But I'll explain why it's more in children as we go through this. I could go on forever about autism because it's near and dear to my heart. But what the world needs to know is they have the advanced brain system, and that this is not a sensory disorder, it's a supersensory system, and we need to modify and really revamp the way that we are interpreting autism and how we're treating it, and what parents are being taught about it, and because they are literally that more advanced human, and we need to get that cleared up. So if you really want to know neurotypicals, the way that neurotypical people over like hundreds of years, no one in particular, this is so deeply ingrained into us, is from our ancestral line, but the navigational systems we as society are using through communication and expectations and imbalances in work and home life, and just the way that we interact as a human to ourself and others, our self relationship and our relationship with others has become very distorted over generations. And so the truth is that the neurotypical person is the one that has the pathology and is the disordered of the two, based on the way that the way we should be interacting as humans and developing our connections. So that's going to be big, because the autistic person literally operate from a different place, and they are lacking in ego. And I will be discussing this in great detail also as I go through this journey. And then two more areas: the human developmental stages and ego development, and how this is relating to the planet as she goes through her own maturation from 3D to 5D. I want to explain how this is all connected to the human consciousness and development, and the origins going back at least 13,000 years, which has everything to do with astrology, these big loops of time that's coming back around again, and it has to do with the back change in the magnetic poles and in the center of the earth and what's happening in the climate, and all of that goes back to this and the earth going through her own maturation. And it does go back to the Atlantis and Lemurian civilizations, and I will talk about that in great detail also. So here's to kind of wrap it up. The Earth's soul is just as ours, and her physical matter actually includes us. And it operates off the same principles that we do. So what energy we put and pour into the earth is what the children become. What you pour and teach your child is who they become, if they don't ever stop and form their own path in life and decide if it's okay to think differently. So this is what's happened even with our earth, is for at least since the mid 20th century, there has been some intentionality by governments, specifically with the United States and Russia, that has poured into these sacred sites, these energy centers around the earth, to create great separation between people and our own humanity, but also separation from the God within us, and that making us feel like we can't go to God, or that that we're going to go to some ultimate abandonment by God by going to some place called hell if you don't follow the rules. And there's a lot of other areas around that too, but creating this great separation, there's been intentionality on the part of the governments. So they have the government in general has a lot of misaligned practices that have contributed greatly to the decline in humanity as a whole. And so what we're going to end up doing is kind of explaining this through the central nervous system of a human, through the polyvagal theory, neuropsychology, psychodynamic therapy, internal family systems, and just an eclectic ideology of what I've used in my practice over time, and realizing through my work in all these areas of my specializations with the early childhood trauma and autism and narcissistic abuse, and also as a Reiki practitioner, like how it all came together and being able to help the viewer understand what's happening in the world through how you can relate to it and what's happened to you and what you've gone through. And so I hope to pair it all together as I travel and help pair these there's 72 bonded pairs, and I'm going to be working on, I guess, around 11 of them. And I'm excited to be a part of this. I don't know what it all means yet, but I thank you in advance for being a part of my journey and your support. My husband and I are right now funding this completely on our own. I don't know what I would do without his backing. Thank you, babe. My cameraman right there. So if you'd like to contribute to the cause, we will be attaching a link for DonorBox. But in addition, if you would put your energies help follow this story and go and put your energy into love and inclusion and freedom and equality and balance out during, and follow the lunar cycles and the precession of the equinoxes, and just listen to this and I'll guide you through it. But pour the most beautiful energy into the earth with me. Meet me one of these days and times, and let's connect and let's link our thinking and make the world a better place together. Stay tuned. There's more to come.